Gentlemen, have you been using baking soda alone to improve your circulation, your blood flow, or your performance in the bedroom? If you have, I need you to stop immediately. Because using baking soda by itself might be the very reason you're not seeing the results you hoped for. And what I'm about to show you could be the difference between disappointment and transformation. I'm Dr. Sarah Whitman, a board-certified urologist with over a decade of experience helping men over 50 reclaim their vitality and confidence. And today, I'm going to reveal the one powder that most men never think to combine with baking soda, a powder that's probably sitting in your kitchen right now. When these two ingredients meet water, they create a powerful chemical reaction that supports massive improvements in blood flow, stamina, and intimate performance. By the end of this video, you'll know the exact formula, the precise timing window, and the 4 mechanisms that make this combination so effective. So stay with me until the end. Now I know how frustrating this is. The desire is there. Your mind is ready, but your body isn't responding the way it used to. Maybe your erections start strong but fade halfway through. Maybe your morning firmness has disappeared completely. Maybe intimacy has become unpredictable, inconsistent, something you worry about instead of looking forward to. And that uncertainty, that loss of confidence, it affects everything. Your relationship, your self-image, the way you see yourself as a man. In my decade as a urologist, I've sat across from thousands of men who describe this exact struggle, and I want you to hear something clearly. This is not just about getting older. What you're experiencing is a shift in your body's chemistry, and when you understand that chemistry, when you learn how to support it, everything can change. Here's what's really happening inside your body after 50. Your bloodstream becomes slightly more acidic. Not dangerously acidic, but just enough to interfere with something critical: the production of nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the molecule that tells your blood vessels to relax and open wide, allowing blood to surge powerfully exactly where you need it. When acidity rises, nitric oxide production drops, your blood vessels don't fully relax, circulation slows, and the response you once trusted simply isn't there anymore. At the same time, oxidative stress increases throughout your vascular system. Think of oxidative stress like rust forming inside your blood vessels. It destroys nitric oxide faster than your body can use it. Your red blood cells become stiffer, less able to squeeze through tiny capillaries to deliver oxygen, and the smooth muscle cells that control blood vessel dilation start running out of energy, out of ADP, the fuel they need to stay open. So when the moment arrives, when you want your body to respond, it's fighting against chemistry that's working against you. The good news, the part that changes everything, is that chemistry can be supported. Blood flow can return, and it starts with understanding why baking soda alone isn't enough. Now, many men have heard about using baking soda to improve circulation and performance, and they're not wrong to try it. Baking soda, or sodium bicarbonate, is a powerful pH buffer. When you take it, it reduces the acidity in your bloodstream, creating a more alkaline environment. And in that environment, the endothelial cells lining your blood vessels can produce nitric oxide more efficiently. Studies have shown that sodium bicarbonate can improve physical performance, reduce fatigue during exertion, and support vascular function. So it absolutely does help. The problem is, it only addresses one piece of a much larger puzzle. Think about what aging men really face when it comes to circulation and performance. There are 4 major challenges. First, rising acidity that suppresses nitric oxide. Baking soda fixes this one. Check. But second, there's oxidative stress that destroys nitric oxide before it can work. Baking soda doesn't address this. Third, red blood cells become stiff and can't deliver oxygen efficiently. Baking soda can't change that either. And fourth, the smooth muscle in your blood vessels runs low on ADP, the energy needed to maintain dilation. Again, baking soda doesn't help here. This is why so many men tell me, "Dr. Whitman, I tried baking soda. I didn't feel anything. Nothing changed." It's not that baking soda is ineffective. It's that it's incomplete. It opens the door just a crack, but it can't push it all the way open. You need something more, something that works in perfect synergy with baking soda to unlock the full potential of your vascular system. And that's where the second powder comes in, the one almost no man ever considers. But when you combine it with baking soda in the right ratio at the right time, something remarkable happens. a chemical transformation that creates a compound your aging blood vessels respond to like they're waking up from a long sleep. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. The first powder, as you already know, is baking soda, sodium bicarbonate. It's the foundation. When you take it, it immediately begins buffering the excess acidity that's been suppressing your nitric oxide production. Think of acidity like a thick fog covering your blood vessels, making it impossible for them to see clearly or respond properly. Baking soda clears that fog. It gives your endothelial cells the environment they need to produce nitric oxide again. This is especially important during physical activity, during intimacy, because that's when your muscles produce even more acid, lactic acid, hydrogen ions, metabolic waste. All of this drives your pH down further, making it even harder for your blood vessels to open. Baking soda steps in and neutralizes that acid as it builds up, giving your body a fighting chance to maintain blood flow from beginning to end. But here's where most men stop. They take baking soda, they wait, and when they don't feel a dramatic difference, they assume it doesn't work. What they don't realize is that they're missing the critical second half of the equation, the powder that transforms baking soda from helpful into powerful. That second powder is citric acid. Yes, the same tart, sour powder you've seen in cooking and baking, the powder used to preserve food to add tang to recipes. Most men walk right past it in the grocery store without ever imagining that it could be the key to restoring their circulation and confidence. Now here's where it gets fascinating. When you mix baking soda and citric acid together in water, they don't just sit side by side. They react. You'll see it immediately, bubbling, fizzing, carbon dioxide being released. But that fizzing isn't just a fun science experiment, it's a chemical transformation. Those two simple powders are combining to create something entirely new, sodium citrate. And sodium citrate is where the real magic begins, because sodium citrate does things inside your body that baking soda alone simply cannot do. First, sodium citrate protects nitric oxide from oxidative stress. Remember, oxidative stress is like rust forming inside your blood vessels, destroying nitric oxide before it can signal your vessels to open. Sodium citrate acts like a protective shield around your endothelial cells, reducing that oxidative damage and allowing nitric oxide to survive longer and work more effectively. This is the game changer. Baking soda helps you produce nitric oxide, but sodium citrate protects it so it can actually do its job. Second, sodium citrate makes your red blood cells more flexible. Your blood isn't just a liquid, it's packed with red blood cells, the tiny vessels that carry oxygen to every tissue in your body. But as you age, those cells become stiffer, less pliable. They struggle to squeeze through the narrowest capillaries, the tiny vessels where oxygen delivery matters most. Sodium citrate changes the flexibility of those red blood cell membranes, making them softer, more elastic, able to glide through even the smallest passages. Better oxygen delivery means better stamina, better sensation, and no more running out of steam halfway through. Third, sodium citrate feeds directly into your body's citric acid cycle, also known as the Kb cycle. This is the engine inside every cell that produces ADP, the energy currency your body runs on. And here's why this matters so much. The smooth muscle tissue inside your blood vessels needs ADP to dilate and to stay dilated. Without enough ADP, dilation fails. Blood vessels collapse. Firmness fades. But when sodium citrate fuels that Kb cycle, ATP production surges. Your blood vessels finally have the energy to open fully and hold that opening strong and stable for as long as you need. And fourth, not all of the baking soda reacts with the citric acid. Some bicarbonate remains in the mixture, continuing to buffer acidity throughout your system. So you're getting the transformation of sodium citrate plus the ongoing pH support from leftover bicarbonate. It's a double benefit working simultaneously. This is why the combination is so much more powerful than baking soda alone. Baking soda prepares the environment. Citric acid creates the transformation, and together they unlock 4 separate mechanisms that all work in perfect coordination to restore blood flow, stamina, and performance. Men describe it as warmth spreading through their chest, their hands, their pelvic region, a sense that circulation is waking up, that their body is finally responding again, not forced, not artificial, just natural. the way it used to be. But knowing what to take is only half the equation. The other half, the part that determines whether you feel a gentle improvement or a powerful surge, is understanding exactly how these mechanisms work inside your body. Let me break that down for you. Now, let me walk you through exactly what happens inside your body when these four mechanisms activate, because understanding this helps you trust the process and know what to expect. Mechanism 1, nitric oxide stability. Nitric oxide is the master molecule that controls blood flow. It's produced by the endothelial cells lining your arteries and veins, and when it's released, it signals the smooth muscle in your vessel walls to relax. That relaxation is what allows blood to flow freely, powerfully, filling the tissues that need it most. But here's the problem. Oxidative stress, that internal rust I mentioned earlier, destroys nitric oxide almost as fast as your body produces it. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. You're producing, but you're losing it before it can work. Sodium citrate changes this. It reduces oxidative stress throughout your vascular system, acting like a protective coating around your endothelial cells. Less oxidative stress means nitric oxide survives longer. And when nitric oxide survives longer, it can finally do what it's designed to do: relax your blood vessels, open the pathways, allow blood to surge through with strength and consistency. This is the foundation. Without nitric oxide stability, nothing else matters. Mechanism 2, red blood cell flexibility. Your blood isn't just liquid moving through tubes, it's packed with red blood cells, each one carrying oxygen from your lungs to every tissue in your body. Now, the capillaries, the tiniest blood vessels where oxygen exchange happens, are incredibly narrow. Some are so small that red blood cells have to bend and squeeze to fit through. When you're young, your red blood cells are flexible, elastic. They glide through easily. But as you age, those cell membranes stiffen. They lose their pliability. And when red blood cells can't bend, they get stuck. Oxygen can't reach the tissues that need it. This is why so many men over 50 experience fatigue during intimacy. Even when desire is strong, their muscles, their erectile tissue, they're starving for oxygen. Sodium citrate directly improves the flexibility of red blood cell membranes. It makes them softer, more pliable, able to squeeze through the narrowest vessels without getting stuck. Suddenly, oxygen delivery surges. Your tissues are finally getting the fuel they've been desperately needing. Stamina improves, sensation sharpens, and that frustrating mid-performance fade simply doesn't happen anymore. Mechanism 3, ADP production through the KB cycle. Every muscle in your body needs energy to contract and relax. That energy comes from ADP, adenosine triphosphate, the molecule that powers every cellular process. The smooth muscle tissue lining your blood vessels is no different. To dilate, to open wide and allow blood to flow in, those muscles need ADP. And to stay dilated, to hold that opening stable and strong, they need a continuous supply of ADP. The problem is ADP production declines with age. Your mitochondria, the tiny power plants inside each cell, become less efficient. They produce less energy. And when ADP runs low, smooth muscle can't maintain dilation. Blood vessels start to collapse. Firmness fades. This is why so many men tell me they can achieve an erection but can't maintain it. The energy simply isn't there. Sodium citrate feeds directly into the citric acid cycle, also called the Krebs cycle, the core metabolic pathway that produces ATP. It's like adding high-grade fuel directly into your cellular engine. ATP production surges. Your smooth muscle finally has the energy it needs to dilate fully and stay dilated. Blood vessels open wide and hold that position strong and stable for as long as you need. This is the difference between starting strong and fading versus starting strong and finishing even stronger. Mechanism 4, continuous pH buffering. When baking soda and citric acid react, they don't use up every molecule of sodium bicarbonate. Some remains in the mixture, continuing to work as a pH buffer throughout your system. And this matters because during physical activity, during intimacy, your muscles are producing acid. Lactic acid builds up. Hydrogen ions accumulate. This acid buildup is what causes that burning sensation in your muscles, that fatigue that makes you want to stop. The leftover bicarbonate keeps buffering that acid as it forms, neutralizing it before it can interfere with your performance. It delays fatigue. It extends your stamina. It keeps your vascular environment optimized for nitric oxide production. Even as your body is working hard, you're getting transformation from the sodium citrate and ongoing protection from the bicarbonate. Two layers of support working together. This is why the combination is so powerful. It's not one thing helping a little. It's four separate mechanisms working in perfect coordination, each one addressing a different piece of the aging circulation puzzle. Baking soda alone gives you pH support. Baking soda plus citric acid gives you pH support, nitric oxide protection, oxygen delivery, and cellular energy. That's the difference between hoping for improvement and actually feeling transformation. But even with all four mechanisms working, there's still one critical factor that determines success or disappointment, and that's timing. Because your body needs time to absorb these compounds, to shift its chemistry, to activate these pathways. Take it at the wrong time and you'll wonder why nothing happened. Take it at the right time and the results can feel almost immediate. Let me show you exactly when and how to use this for maximum effect. Here's what separates men who get powerful results from men who say, "I tried it and didn't feel anything." It's not the ingredients, it's not the dose, it's the timing. Because your body doesn't flip a switch the moment you drink this mixture. It goes through a precise sequence of changes. And if you understand that sequence, you can time everything perfectly for when you need it most. Let me walk you through what happens minute by minute after you drink the mixture. In the first 15 minutes, the mixture enters your stomach and begins absorbing into your bloodstream. The bicarbonate immediately starts buffering acidity, shifting your pH from acidic toward alkaline. Your endothelial cells, those delicate cells lining your blood vessels, start sensing the change. They begin preparing to produce nitric oxide more efficiently. Nothing dramatic is happening yet that you can feel, but the foundation is being laid. The chemistry is shifting. Between 15 and 30 minutes, nitric oxide production begins to rise. Your blood vessels start receiving the signal to relax, to open. Some men describe feeling a subtle warmth during this phase, maybe in the hands, maybe in the chest, maybe a sense that circulation is gently waking up like a slow sunrise inside the body. It's not powerful yet, but it's beginning. Between 30 and 45 minutes, sodium citrate reaches full absorption. This is when all four mechanisms become fully active. Oxidative stress is dropping. Nitric oxide is being protected. Red blood cells are becoming more flexible. ATP production is ramping up in the smooth muscle of your blood vessels. Your vascular system is shifting from struggling to ready, from restricted to responsive. Between 45 and 60 minutes, you enter what I call a readiness window. This is the sweet spot. This is when all four mechanisms align and work together at their peak. Your blood vessels are primed, oxygen delivery is optimized, cellular energy is surging, nitric oxide is stable and abundant. This is when your body is ready to respond quickly, powerfully, naturally. Arousal happens faster. Firmness comes easier. Maintenance feels effortless instead of uncertain. Between 60 and 90 minutes, the effects reach their absolute peak. Blood flow is strong and stable. Stamina holds without fear of fading. Sensation sharpens. Everything feels natural, confident, the way it used to be before aging and chemistry started interfering. Men tell me this is when intimacy stops feeling like work and starts feeling like life again. Now here's the critical mistake I see men make over and over. They take this mixture 5 or 10 minutes before intimacy and then wonder why nothing happened. Your body needs time. It needs 45 to 60 minutes to shift its chemistry, to activate these pathways, to prepare your vascular system for peak performance. Taking it right before is like planting a seed and expecting a tree to grow instantly. It doesn't work that way. One of my patients learned this the hard way. He tried it one evening, took it just before he and his wife went to bed. Nothing. He felt disappointed, almost gave up. But then he tried again a week later, this time taking it 45 minutes before. He called me the next day and said, "Dr. Whitman, it was completely different. I felt warm, I felt ready, everything just worked, same ingredients, same dose, different timing." And that made all the difference. So here's what I want you to remember. Plan ahead. Give your body the time it needs. Drink the mixture 45 to 60 minutes before you need peak blood flow and circulation. Trust the process, let the chemistry unfold, and when that readiness window opens, you'll feel exactly what I'm talking about. Now, let me give you the exact formula, the precise measurements and preparation steps so you can do this correctly from the very first time. All right, let's get specific because precision matters here. The ratio, the dose, the preparation, every detail plays a role in whether this works powerfully or falls flat. The ratio that works is 2.1, 2 parts baking soda to 1 part citric acid, not equal parts, not a random guess. 2.1. This ratio creates optimal sodium citrate formation while still leaving enough bicarbonate to continue buffering your pH. It's the perfect balance. For a starting dose, use 3 grams of baking soda and half a gram to 1 gram of citric acid. If you don't have a scale, that's approximately half a teaspoon of baking soda and about an eighth of a teaspoon of citric acid. Start on the lower end if you've never taken baking soda before or if you have any sensitivity to sodium. Here's how to prepare it step by step. Pour 8 to 12 ounces of water into a glass. Room temperature or slightly warm water works best. Add the baking soda first, then add the citric acid. The moment they hit the water together, you'll see it bubbling, fizzing, that rapid reaction creating carbon dioxide and forming sodium citrate right before your eyes. Let it fizz for about 30 to 45 seconds. You don't need to wait for every bubble to disappear, but give it a moment to react. Then stir gently until the mixture settles enough to drink comfortably. When should you take it? On an empty stomach or at least 2 hours after eating. Food in your stomach slows absorption and can interfere with how quickly the compounds enter your bloodstream. And remember, take it 45 to 60 minutes before you need peak circulation. What does it taste like? It's slightly salty from the sodium and slightly tart from the citric acid. Most men tell me it's much easier to drink than they expected. If you want to improve the taste, you can add a small splash of lemon juice or mix it with a bit of fruit juice, but that's completely optional. If you're trying this for the first time, start with half the dose. See how your body responds. Most men tolerate the full dose easily, but it's always smarter to start conservatively and increase gradually over a few days. Now, let's talk about safety, because even though both of these powders are natural and commonly used in food, you need to understand a few important points. Sodium content. 3 grams of baking soda contains approximately 1,000 to 1,100 milligauss of sodium. That's about half of the recommended daily limit for most adults. If you're on a strict low-sodium diet, if you have uncontrolled high blood pressure, chronic kidney disease, heart failure, or severe fluid retention, you need to talk to your doctor before using this. For most healthy men, this amount is well tolerated and safe. But I want you to be informed, not surprised. Digestive considerations. Some men experience mild bloating or gas when they first try baking soda, especially if they take it too soon after a meal. That's why I recommend taking it on an empty stomach. Letting the mixture fizz before you drink it also helps, because the carbon dioxide is released in the glass instead of in your stomach. If you have a sensitive digestive system, start with half the dose and work your way up slowly over a week. Citric acid is extremely safe. It's used in sodas, candy, supplements, canned foods. The amount we're using here is tiny, well within normal dietary levels. It almost never causes any issues and actually makes the final mixture gentler on your stomach than taking baking soda alone. For the vast majority of healthy men over 50, this combination is safe, simple, and inexpensive. But listen to your body. If something doesn't feel right, reduce the dose or stop and consult with your doctor. Caution is wisdom, not weakness. Now, most men think of this as a quick boost before intimacy, and it absolutely works that way. But what surprises them, what they never expect, is what happens when they use this consistently over time. Because the real transformation isn't just in the moment, it's in the long-term healing of your vascular system. Let me show you what I mean. Here's the part most men never anticipate. They think of this mixture as a pre-intimacy boost, something you take when you need it, and that's it. But when you use this consistently 2 or 3 times per week, something much deeper begins to happen. Your vascular system doesn't just respond in the moment. It starts to heal, to regenerate, to function the way it did years ago. The endothelial cells lining your blood vessels begin recovering. They produce nitric oxide more efficiently on their own, not just when you take the mixture. The oxidative stress that's been damaging those cells for years starts to decline, and over time, your blood vessels become more flexible, more responsive, healthier. Your oxygen delivery improves throughout the entire day, not just during intimacy. Men tell me they feel more energy in the morning, their thinking feels clearer, their hands and feet feel warmer, they can walk longer without fatigue, their body just feels more alive. Mitochondrial function improves. The energy production inside every cell strengthens with consistent citric acid cycle support. Better mitochondrial function means better stamina, faster recovery after workouts, more consistent energy throughout the day. Your body isn't just getting a temporary boost, it's rebuilding the foundation of cellular energy. And perhaps most importantly, performance becomes more consistent. Morning erections start returning, sometimes after months of absence. Intimacy feels more reliable, more natural. Men tell me, Dr. Whitman, it's not just the nights I take it. Everything feels better overall. I feel like myself again. This is what real transformation looks like. Not masking symptoms, not forcing your body into temporary performance, but supporting your vascular system so it can heal, strengthen, and function the way it's designed to. And it costs almost nothing. Two simple powders working together to restore what time has been slowly taking away. Gentlemen, now I want you to try this for 30 days. Follow the timing. Be consistent. Most men notice changes within 2 to 4 weeks. Some feel it the very first time. Give your body the chance to respond, to heal, to remember what strength feels like. If you have any questions about this protocol, drop a comment below.